just to be a little more romantic for us, I have this burning for us.
Both of these nuts. What the fuck?
This is homemade mojito I made myself. So
Ooh.
it has the lime in it. It has the mint in it. Smells amazing. Tastes amazing.
It's been a minute since I've had a good mojito.
Well, if you ever come to New Jersey area, let me know.
I will.
I will definitely be making. I love making these. Ever since I learned how to make them, that's all I make now.
It's honestly my cocktail of choice back when I was still in college living on campus was I would make a fuck ton of oh god, what is it? It's vodka and orange juice. Screwdrivers. I used to make a ton of screwdrivers and I perfected the screwdriver. But then again, I would always like forget half the night when I wake up in the morning because those things would wreck me. But today I have Chivas Regal blended Scotch whiskey, 12-year aged.
Ooh, look at that gorgeous bottle.
Oh yeah, and look at the color on this.
Oh my god!
I need to pour this. I also have some of that good. So.
Okay, all right. That's
It is legal where I live, for context.
Yeah, I mean it's legal. Yeah, I think it's like legal. What, like 80% of the country now?
Something like that.
Yeah. Listen. Yeah. Just know that it's fine where he's at, and it's also fine where I'm at. So if it determines where headquarters is at, headquarters New Jersey is legal New Jersey. So that hopefully that math checks out. If it doesn't, my PR team tells me to stay quiet.
Yeah.
All right. Just lighting this bad boy up.
Hey. Fuck. The last time I had a cigar, it was when me and my old roommate we spent like 2 weeks out west. We picked up 2 cigars. And the first cigar we smoked in Colorado, like in the mountains, just proper mountain vibes. And we would like smoke it watching the sunset over the mountains. And then the second cigar we smoked on a roof of a beach house in Santa Cruz. Same vibe, just sunset over the ocean.
That sounds. I'm jealous.
It was great.
That's because I just smoke in my office, and the best views I would get is probably if I go to the beach. And yeah, but yeah, my story doesn't top yours. But
well, to get this started, I guess we could just hit it up. Kampai, launch it.
Yeah. Boom. There you go. Salud. All right, guys. What is up?
Oh, that's a lovely scotch.
That's perfect. That's good to hear.
Oh, it's so smooth.
All right, guys. Today's another edition of Emerson the Rock. Today's edition is Who Is Tvpps Music Edition. So today we're gonna kind of explore the. Not only he's a jack of many trades as well. Not only he does music, he also does gaming. There's probably other plethoras of things he also does as well. We're gonna completely dive into all the kind of stuff, but let's just introduce who is Tvpps and what do you do?
Well, my name is Tvpps. I do a lot of things, but mainly I am a music producer, a DJ, content creator, streamer. I branch out and do a lot of stuff. I also do events promotion here in Oklahoma City. I can tell you about that later in more detail. I also do, video editing. That also kind of comes to the territory with content creation. And I do music. I do content creation, and I'm an absolute no-life degenerate in VR chat. You can see my base station one of my base stations behind my head.
Yep. All right. That's awesome to hear. Before I get into more about what things you do, how did you get the name Tvpps?
So when I was choosing a name for my music project, I've been making music under this name for a very long time. I think about 5 years now. It was the laziest thinking I could have ever done. So I'm like, what if I took like half of my last name instead of an A? We'll do this new trendy thing that was happening in 2015 by using a V instead, which to this day I still regret. I am not the only one, but oh man. So that's how Tvpps came to be. Although if you find me on YouTube, the Tvpps channel with a V is actually been fully converted into the YouTube artist channel, right? Where it has a little music note next to it. Yeah. I used to do gaming YouTube on that channel for about 4 or 5 years, really. But there was a point where I was like, I just wanted to go full time into music for a while. And so I stopped doing gaming content, and I just kind of like made everything unlisted, privated pretty much everything. And so all you can find there is just music for the most part. Couple sets in there as well. But I did convert my second channel into a gaming channel. So that's just called Tvpps Online, an A this time. So it's Tvpps Online. And that's where I'm doing my gaming content now. I'm essentially starting from scratch again, because on the Tvpps channel, I had 1.5K, but on Tvpps Online, I'm currently sitting at about between 100 to 150 subscribers right now. So, but it's kind of like starting fresh, starting new, like, all right, new identity. Where are we going? You know? And I've had a lot of help getting back into it, because like I spent, I think it was like an 8 or 9 month period of just not making videos, and I just missed it. And I reached out to the homies, and the first video I did back on that channel was when we recorded the Battlefield beta. Yeah, that was the first one back. Yeah, we actually just recorded a session last night with Frandoman One and a couple other people, and we did Pico Park, but every time we died, we took a shot.
Are you alive?
You could probably guess how that went. I said this last night. It'll be quoted in at least somebody's video, probably mine. I'm a professional alcoholic. Sorry, not a professional alcoholic. I'm a professional drunk. There we go.
Yeah, there you go. That's more proper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. But I'm like I said, obviously I'm glad that you're doing stuff and taking music serious, and passion like that. It's phenomenal. I know a few people who decided to revamp everything, start over, and it's working. And sometimes you have to take that chance. It could be a quote unquote risk.
Yeah.
There's a lot of high award for doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And like I said, for the gaming channel, gaming will always be relevant on YouTube. And depending on who you work with, and depending who you connect with, and depending who you have connections with, even if you start from zero, you could easily go back up. Oh yeah, and
it's one of those things that's like high risk, high reward. And if you're restarting, you're willing to put in the work, and especially for like, I've been doing YouTube for a while. I kind of know, for the most part, the proper way to approach editing, proper way to approach titling, tags, thumbnails, the content itself. Like I know what looks good and what would pull people in, because at the end of the day, unfortunately for us, we're just writing the algorithm. But I'm also just doing this for fun at the same time. So if it pops off on the algorithm, fucking sick. If it doesn't, I don't care. I've got memories on that channel, because that's what essentially it is. What a lot of people don't think about when it comes to content creation, and this comes from I do have a little bit of a background in filmmaking. I used to do documentary filmmaking back when I was in like high school and a little bit in college. And even with a gaming YouTube video, you're still telling a story with your editing. and with the way you do things. And so whenever I'm editing footage, whether it's for myself or for a client, I'm thinking to myself, what kind of story do I want to portray with this footage? And, and that's what I try to do, is like, I try to tell a story. It's like, oh, this is what this crazy thing we did, or, a bunch of crazy jokes. Cause like, even a stand-up routine could be storytelling,
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of things. Like for new content creators, I want you to think, when you're editing your footage, think about it like a story. What kind of story can you tell with the footage you have?
Yeah, because
and that makes it more engaging.
Yeah, they're very 100% true. A lot of comedians, they utilize like the circle back technique, where in the start of the video they'll say something, and then towards the end of the video, or let's say just for like a comedian standpoint, a stand-up will open with a joke, and then their last set they will close it with the first joke, and kind of like a reminiscence of just bringing it back to from beginning to end. And a lot of YouTubers do that as well for for content creation. Let it be from gaming to vlogs to a whole bunch of different varieties and different things they could do. So that's essentially what Tvpps is kind of saying, to have a story, even if it's just pure chaos. If it's just chaos the whole entire session, then just make it the most chaotic editing style you could think of. Zooms, shake effects for the videos, a lot of sound effects, visual effects, green screens.
A good example of chaos in editing that works really well is Isaac Y's videos.
Okay, yeah.
Isaac Y does really well with chaos, and it's entertaining as hell. It's so funny, and his use of sound effects is so subtle. If you weren't paying attention, you wouldn't notice at all. But if you really pay attention to like the way that his editors edit the content, it's fucking golden. It's perfect, and yeah.
So before we get into the whole music aspect, how did you get into gaming? What was your first console, your first game, and why you started doing gaming videos?
My first console was a Wii.
Okay.
And I had a Wii for a long time. The Wii Sports was my shit. Fucking all the Mario games that we had, like Super Mario Galaxy, Mario Kart, whatever, your standard Wii games that were really great. And then when I was in high school, we got a 360, and me and my brother and all of our friends, we'd be playing like COD and Halo and whatnot. But what got me into wanting to do gaming videos was I started watching gaming YouTubers around 2012, 2013. So Markiplier, not so much PewDiePie at the time, but Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, the Vanoss crew. I watched a fuck ton of Chawboy back in the day.
Okay.
That's how I got introduced to CS, was Chawboy.
Okay.
And I wanted to do it too, because they inspired me. But I wasn't able to start. I didn't have a PC for it. I wasn't able to start doing content until 2017, when I got my gaming laptop for college. It's the laptop I still use now for DJing.
Oh.
See it over there? And all the empty alcohol bottles from last night.
That's a different story.
Different story, yes. But I just kind of started off. It was just me, my old roommate, and a few other people just playing like Cards Against Humanity and World of Warships and doing whatever. And I would just record it and edit it and just put it up on YouTube. And I just kept doing that. And I ended up meeting some good friends in Jay's server, Jay's Discord server. Shout out Jay. He's a fucking real one. I met a lot of people back in the day from Mini Lad's server, and I just met all these like-minded people that I am still friends with to this day. Like Omen, for example. Omen's still like basically my best friend. He taught me how to use FL Studio, because at the time I was producing music on like free software. So I owe Omen a lot. And then through Omen, I met Fran and Eco and all of them, and they're like my core recording group for an extremely long time was the people I met through that, and I just kept doing videos because I enjoyed it. And then the pandemic hit, and which really gave me the time to like, you know what, let's just fucking full dive because I got nothing else going on in my life. And so that's what I did. I uploaded. There was a period of time where I was uploading 3 times a week, which was rough. I was like, yeah, fuck this. I'm going back to like once a week. But I stayed consistent with once a week uploads for a while, and my channel just grew super fast. And you know, the more videos you do, the better you get.
Yeah.
And I really got into this groove of content creation, and some of those sessions I will never forget. Like the AI dungeon sessions we did was just like 3 or 4 hours of cry laughing, you know. Fall Guys, like all the like, and a lot of the videos I made was just clips that I got of us naturally just playing with each other, just playing COD, where we weren't on content mode. It was just us, our natural personalities, and I would just clip these moments, and people really enjoyed that. Because, you know, when you're doing like a proper, like, all right, we're sitting down to record this, you know, you have this certain recording mindset. You're there for the content. With those other kinds of videos where I'm just like, I have just replay buffer on when we're playing Warzone or something, I'm like, all right, if something cool happens, bam, recorded, you know. Those are, we're just all naturally weird. And so, you know, just make stupid jokes all the time. And, you know, it's a different vibe. And it's a lot more real in that essence, but both are good. But yeah, I eventually doing everything all at once kind of got too much, and then I stopped for a while, and then that's where I am now. Is when I started back up again with the second channel. Yeah, I amassed 1.5K in my time on that channel, just doing that. Yeah, I've been able to meet a lot of cool people, including yourself, doing this.
Thank you.
I remember the first time we recorded anything together was it was the Cold War beta.
Yeah.
You got so mad.
Mother bitch, or what was it that you liked? I forgot what expression I said. Oh, you silly bitch. It's like Vietnam War flashbacks. You just bringing up like all those times. Like I was pissed.
Oh man,
I miss those days.
Just getting melted by constant attack helicopters. Oh man.
But
yeah, that's how I got into gaming YouTube. I still enjoy it. Yeah.
So with music, what got you into music? Who's your inspiration? And what have you been doing recently?
Well, I've been doing music since I was in like 3rd grade. I started playing the French horn back then, and I still do to this day. Pick it up every once in a while. Like it's sitting right there. Because that French horn carried me through college. Like it paid for most of my college. But so I started way back doing instrumental music all the way through school. But I started listening to electronic music back in like 2011, 2012 with like Deadmau5, Skrillex, Knife Party, old Porter Robinson. Those are the kind of like influences that got me into it, and I just started really getting heavily interested in electronic music. Like we'd be those weird kids in the parking lot in high school headbanging to some dubstep back in like 2015, you know. And I wanted to just start making it because I already had that kind of musical background, and so I started off with free software, and I started by making rap beats that were not great and ambient music. So I made my first release on my Spotify that's still up to this day. I don't know how long I'll keep it up before I eventually take it down, but I did like a full just ambient album that I did over like 2 years. And then I just kept getting more and more interested. I bought FL Studio, and Omen taught me how to use it, and I just kept getting more and more interested. And now I currently run 2 aliases. I have tabs for things like, you know, bass music, drum and bass, dubstep, whatever. And I also have an alias called Glass Persona, which is for house and like experimental, like house and techno, which are all just just different subgenres. Both are seeing pretty decent successes for house. Uh, how long I've been doing this, which is not very long in the grand scheme of things. And it's gotten me work as a event promoter. So I work for a company called Fresh Squeeze out in Oklahoma City, and we throw raves. That's what we do. Throw raves and club events and things like that. We also work with another company called House Lab. It's just like a 3-person operation. It's me, my colleague Danny, and my colleague Caleb. And I've been working with them for like the last year, and we've thrown a lot of really cool shows, and I've actually played a couple of them as my house and techno alias Glass Persona. I actually recently headlined our first techno show, and I'm headlining another techno show in September.
Wow!
So I'm excited for that. I'm starting to play shows. I've been doing I've been a part of the VR chat clubbing and raving scene for 2 years now. So I play shows all the time in VR chat, and it's been a really cool blessing. I've played alongside some ridiculously big artists and to extremely large audiences. Like, I think my biggest audience was when I played for a group called Virtual Market, which is like this convention inside of VR. It's like the first and only like proper convention in VR chat. You'll have like booths from like Disney, HP, whatever. But I ended up playing one of the events that they threw, and I think they told me the metric during my set was I think somewhere between 10 to 15,000 people attending.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was playing live. I didn't pre-record that set. I was spinning live. It was about a 2-hour set, and I was when they told me that metric, I was like, huh? you know that clip is like, today is Friday in California. Huh? That guy was me. It's been an interesting experience because I have somewhat of like a fan base all over the world. I have a small fan base that's growing in Japan, which is really cool. I'm hoping to go and play over there at some point. Crossing my fingers. Please open the country up.
Oh yes,
so I can get over there. Give me my visa. There's a lot of things happening that I also can't talk about because of NDA.
Okay.
Things. But yeah, if you guys want to check out my music, both aliases are up on Spotify, SoundCloud, whatever you use to listen to music. I did release an album as Tvpps last year that I'm really proud of, and I recently released a 5-track EP for Glass Persona that I'm also really proud of. So if you guys wanted to check that out, feel free to do so.
It will be in the description 100%.
Yes.
One, I'm proud of you. That is just like it's insane. Just how like this, not only that you do, obviously IRL stuff for your sets, the VR aspect. That's interesting. Like, usually people think of like video games as a no-no, and obviously us as gamers, true gamers, know that gaming is, it's legit. It's a legit passion. It became a sport. But
yes,
opportunities that comes out of gaming, just like for any type of game, it's mind-blowing. And the fact that you're utilizing VR chat, and look where you're at now.
I would not be there. I would not be here without VR chat, to be honest. And the VR chat is an interesting culture because it's more of a social platform than it is a game.
Exactly.
If you go to a public lobby and there's a bunch of kids running around and people saying the N-word and whatever the hell, that's not the real VR chat experience.
Yeah. That's
the real VR chat experience is like being in a world, chilling with your friends, making connections, and the VR chat has a very interesting culture of when it comes to music, where it's like it's literally impossible to gatekeep. It's
Yeah.
impossible. Anyone could just open up an instance and start spinning, and you know, you
Yeah.
can do that. No one can physically stop you from starting out DJing. And because there's so much events going on every week, I have seen people go from I want to start DJing to being a fantastic DJ in a matter of months. It's very quick growth because everyone just kind of pushes each other up for the most part. I mean, sure, there's drama just like everywhere else.
Of course.
It's music industry. There's gonna be drama, but it's a really cool environment. And I feel like for me, and I've described it like this in the past, it's the VR chat clubbing and raving scene is like a combination of 90s rave culture, back when raves were illegal, and the Wild West era of the internet, where anything goes. And so it's like the combo of those two cultures, and it's really cool. I'll have to take you to some parties in VR at some point.
Yeah.
You got a headset.
I gotta finance all that kind of stuff and get that together. I finally renovated my office a little bit. Before it's a little more tightly squeezed. Now I actually have more of a opening where I have a little more freedom. I might still hit certain things, but if I could just place myself right in the middle of my office, then I'd be fine. So I gotta give myself a little rig and all that and set everything up. But I hopefully by December time, I'll probably get something together. Because standing right in the middle of my office, with my arms wide open, like I'm Creed, it's fine.
Yeah, I've got a lot of play space here. This office area is essentially like a separate building attached to my house.
Okay.
And so it's essentially a glorified insulated garage. But it works. It's a lot of space. I share this space with my dad, and we make it work.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
So I definitely attend a few of your shows, and that also goes for the IRL shows as well. Like I've seen so many people who I know that does music. Obviously, you got Soup.
Yes.
You have people who I connect with, which is Panda and Infi, which is my music artist I use for my channel's intros and outros. They are starting a more metaverse type of persona. I could probably tell them about VR chat as well to see if they want to explore that route as well. So they have these ideas that basically you're already done. But I want to attend these things. I love music. Music has been a big passion of mine as well. But I have no talent. I can't sing. I can barely dance. I come from a line of family that were DJs and they done things with music. My dad's a guitarist. My dad could also he could play multiple types of, I guess, like flutes, clarinets, saxophones. So I guess anything that comes with like the wind family. I forget what you call it. It's been like a couple years since I've been to a music class, but anything that does like, I think they call it the wind group, wind something, whatever. Woodwinds, there you go. That whatever, the wild whirlwinds. But I have family that does things with music. My grandfather, he is like a master at it's called the Guido. In Puerto Rico, it's this little it's like an eggshell type of, it's like a wooden egg looking thing that has like these stripes on it. And it's like a hair comb or like a pick. And you just scratch it against it.
Oh, I know it.
And it sounds like
yeah.
So he does that. He has the maracas as well. Same thing with guitars, and he had like these Native American flutes that he also knew how to play. So like I said, my dad's side of the family, they're talented with music, and then I was born, and I'm just brain dead. But I have a passion for this. I love listening to it. I love seeing how things is created. And when I went to recently, I went to the Weekend concert. Usually when I go to concerts, usually they'll have an opener, and it would be either like an artist that's either up and coming or another mainstream artist that opened for them. Like it was like Drake. He would have somebody like the Weekend will open up for him.
They'll book a whole bill.
Yeah,
they'll have the whole night booked out.
Yeah, but with the Weekend, he actually had a DJ open up for him. and I forgot his name. I know he's very popular in Canada. I gotta look it up, but he opened up,
Hmm.
and it was phenomenal. Like the sets he was doing, like I didn't know who he was. The music I never heard, but I vibed with it. But there's people who were sitting in front of us that I think they're probably big fans of his as well, and they were just completely jamming out. And I'm looking around the crowd, and again, people were just having a big blast. And that was
That's
like
a good crowd.
yeah,
That's a good crowd.
it was
Yeah,
completely sold out. It's like one of the largest stadiums we have in Jersey, and it was a sold out stadium, and everybody was on their feet for the DJ, which I was like,
that's perfect. You could not ask for a better crowd like that when it comes to DJing. It's just like people who they don't care what you're playing, they just want to dance and they just want to vibe.
man,
Like there's a lot of crowds that I have seen in person that are just like dead crowds. Like they just stand there and just not move. And it's just like as a DJ, when you see something like that, you're like,
it hurts.
Yeah,
I
and it's
remember
just like
seeing Coily Ray, and I think I forgot what it was. I think it was like Rolling Loud, and
Oh,
Coily Ray
God.
came out and she was singing, and she put the mic to the crowd, and it was dead silent. And I felt so bad. I'm like, no,
Oh,
like I'm not a big fan of her
no.
music, but I'm like, how I feel bad for her.
Oof. Just an oof. Yeah. I think like a key difference between IRL and VR crowds, it's like for the most part in VR, no one's really making money. It's all for the culture. It's all for the love of the music, and people will show up to dance, and that's why you get in VR. You'll really get a lot of like super left field, weird, experimental shit. That's like really cool, especially at the Japanese venues. There's a Japanese DJ. Their name is Obake, and I have heard the best techno sets I've ever heard from Obake. He's unbelievably cracked at both making and DJing that kind of stuff. Same with some people here in the US that are just cracked. Like my colleague Synthesizer, she's incredible. I mean, there's so many. When I first started doing music stuff in VR chat, there was like maybe 5 or 6 clubs you could choose to go to on a given week.
Okay.
Now there are dozens and hundreds upon hundreds of DJs. It just blew up. It exploded. Like I'm finding new DJs I've never met before in my life every day. I'm just like, I feel like a VR boomer. Because everyone's like, oh yeah, I got in like a year ago or a few months ago or whatever. And I'm like, I've been here for 2 years. And then there are people like that I met when I first got in that have been around the music scene in VR chat since it started back in like 2018.
Wow.
And it's a cool growing spot for DJs to just have fun. That's the way I treat it.
Yeah,
There are
there's no
some
limit.
people that treat it as like a career opportunity, but at the end of the day, like when I'm there, I'm just trying to have fun. Like it's like IRL, I would not spin drunk. In VR chat, I spin drunk all the time. I got good at DJing drunk. Of course, there's a certain line, and once you cross that line, you're just toast. But it's about the fun, and it's for the culture, and it's because I love spending time behind the decks. It's like my DJing for me is extremely cathartic, and it's like my happy place. Yeah. Same thing, ironically enough, with editing. It's a pain in the ass, and I hate it, but at the end of the day, it's cathartic as fuck. Just cutting a video and
I have a trigger word for you: subtitles.
Subtitling it looks so good, but it takes so much time. Oh my god.
Yep.
Even if you have presets, it still takes forever because you have to type out everything.
Yep.
Especially if you're subtitling multiple people at the same time.
Yeah, I spent a full day, because I had a video for Dead by Daylight. There was no gameplay. It was like a whole bunch of funny shit happening in the menus, or like in between rounds. Decided just to highlight just the menu moments. And since there's no gameplay, I wanted to make up for it. So I'm like, I want to subtitle the whole entire video,
Yeah, you would honestly have to subtitle the whole video for something like that.
which I did. And there was times where 4 people talking over each other, and I had to do 4 layers of words coming at the same exact time, and making sure, whoever spoke first were, they're at 800, and person who spoke second was at 720 for obviously for the positioning. And if the third person's talking while the other 2 is talking, then it's at 640. Yeah, and it's
I've been there. I've definitely been there.
I had to take a sip for that because bad memories.
Yep.
But the things that you're talking about with the whole VR and all that kind of stuff, it's just like, it's crazy that it's obviously it's an unfortunality with COVID, but it's also a fortunality that it was like a blessing in disguise.
Oh, that's when I discovered it.
They blew up from whatever they were doing. That'd be from music, from content creation, to just acting, to a whole bunch of different types of careers out there. Through TikToks, through Instagram, Twitter, all these different platforms, podcasting. I have a lot of friends of mine that they're in the realm of cigars. They started companies. They started their own lines. They started their own businesses. They started their own, they found a way how to actually create it. They got with a factory, and because of these, hard times and things kind of went down in value, which is the perfect time to get into a whole aspect of tobacco, they capitalize on it. And yes, it's unfortunate that we had to deal with this whole virus, but a lot of people's careers started and kind of boomed from this. Example A, I started compilations before, in 2019, and then once it started with the COVID, that's when I started attaining more viewers because people were home. And same thing with music with my artist Panda and Enfi. They just hit 1 million total streams for one of their songs.
Oh shit!
And
that's a damn.
Yeah,
that's a as a musician, that's a really big achievement. That's like, I think what is that, platinum? It's a platinum record. I'm not sure. Yeah, like a lot of I discovered VR just on happen chance because I was interested. I'm like, I want to see what this is about. I didn't even know about really the music scene at all because it hardly existed when I got in, and this is like early pandemic.
Yeah.
And
it became an outlet.
I think I fully attribute VR to me being where I'm at and me being around, because like having no social interaction, VR made up for that. Because you're still talking to people face to face. You can still see body language. You can still drink socially,
Yeah. It's just more of, it's a virtual reality. It's VR.
Yeah.
That's what
it
stands for that.
Yeah, it's reality, but everyone's a fucking cat girl. Here, I'll shoot you a photo. This is from an event I played at a club called Rizumu, which is one of the original clubs from around 2018.
Oh. As you guys can see right in the middle of the screen, you'll see the image right there. That's cool.
Yeah,
I've seen things on TikTok where my TikTok algorithm is so cursed, but there's sometimes where it's pretty awesome, and it's a mix of everything. And I've seen things because obviously when I used to look up a lot to do, and back when he used to do VR stuff with guitaring and all that kind of stuff, that kind of triggered my algorithm to move in that direction where it was like VR chat music. And I will see people do raves. I will see people do these techno sets, and they're actually being DJs. You see them going like that, and you see the camera pan out, and you see everybody dancing. I thought that looked amazing, awesome.
It's a cool environment, and it's for someone that does that. I did this before I got into VR, playing DJing and whatnot, and someone who does this in person as a career, it's very good practice, especially because I like to DJ in a headset. So what I'll do is I'll have my headset on my head, and I'll look at the space between my nose and the headset to see what I'm doing, and I would put my index controllers on my wrist. Pick one up. I was just in VR last night. I'd put my index controller on my wrist, like so they can still see my hands move when I'm DJing. But of course, I have my hands free.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's very immersive that way, because if I look up with my eyes, I see the room. And it's also one thing that a lot of people don't get about VR is like, oh, you're just playing it through a Twitch stream. I'm like, yeah, you're playing it through a Twitch stream, but you're crowd reading. You can crowd read. You can see if a floor starts to empty, or if people are really getting into what you're doing. Crowd reading is such an important skill as a DJ. Being able to read the room, it's like, all right, do they vibe with this? Do they not? It's like, do I need to change the vibe? Do it, like, or and it's just something that you get over time. This is really good practice. VR chat is extremely good practice. And it allows me to be totally confident in person.
Tranada. There you go. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
The Tranada boiler room set is so legendary for all the weird shit that people
He was the person that opened up for the weekend.
Oh, Tranada is fucking insane. Tranada is really good.
He read that stadium perfectly. When he was doing some of his sets, obviously there's a little bit of hype. The girls in front of me, they were just screaming, jumping, grooving, vibing. And then when I guess he pays attention more to that vicinity of the stadium, because they're the ones that are actually more into it. Obviously, he's kept on looking around. Well, the moment when he noticed that they kind of like stopped and looked at their phone to either type or whatever, okay, now they're kind of got less interested. Let me actually go a little bit higher. So he would obviously transition perfectly into the next song to get back that hype. So he kept on experimenting with certain things, but it was phenomenal. Except for me, I never really seen DJs much, live. Like, I've been to certain areas in New York. Alex Sensation.
New York has a very good club scene.
Yes, Alex Sensation is like number one when it comes to the Hispanic groups. And again, I've been to one of his events. Phenomenal, fun. Going from salsa to merengue to hip hop to R&B to reggaeton, bachata. He reads. Like, he sees who's in the crowd. If he sees a lot of people who are younger, he goes for the hip hop, R&B, reggaeton, a little bit of trap. He'll put in Bad Bunny. But if he sees the people like who are like in the middle age group or 30 or 40 range, he'll put more bachata, more salsa, merengue to get them dancing. Obviously, it was an older crowd, then he would probably stick with solely salsa, merengue, bachata, because if they're older, then they will most likely dance. And trust me, you would think they'll be the ones sitting down. No, these 80 to 90-year-old grandmas and grandfathers, they will be the star of the show when it comes to dancing. And like, seeing how he reads and seeing how this guy read the room as well, that's something that does take practice. And that's one question I was going to ask you. So, when do you start learning how to basically the setup you have? How long did it take you to learn that? How do you process about reading the room?
A lot of times when I'm playing in VR, I'm doing it on the fly. I won't plan a set. So I'll just like, the only thing I'll plan is like, all right, I'm going to start with this track, and then everything else I just freeball and just read. And, and for me, not for me, but like a set is like also like a story. It is a roller coaster, and you gotta take people on that ride, for however much time you're allotted. For example, if I'm playing a 2 to 3, 4 hour set, I have a lot more time to work with, so I can really take things slowly. Or if I don't want to take things slowly, start somewhere and then end somewhere completely different. I like to mix and match genres when I'm playing. I don't like to just play a whole set of just one genre, typically depending on what I'm doing. Especially with taps, I like to genre bend like crazy. And I would start at like this BPM and end at a much higher BPM or whatnot, and just bounce around. And it's something you just kind of learn as you go. you learn by doing. Like, and it just really like it's fun to experiment. VR chat's a good place to experiment and try something new. Like, oh, I haven't tried spinning, jungle. I'm gonna spin jungle and see how it goes. And jungle's very hard to spin. It's a very, very hard genre to spin. It gives you room to experiment and really learn very quickly. And that completely translates to in person. However, in person, you kind of have to think, I'm not full of a room of nerds anymore like I was in VR chat. I have to I have to make this a bit more palatable. And so a lot of times I'll stick to a little bit more of the mainstream, but every once in a while I'll throw in some good sauce, some deep cuts, some tracks no one's heard before, and usually it works. I'll see the room and they're like, "What is this?" And I'm just like, and it's kind of like your job as a DJ is just being a tastemaker, and like basically a DJ set is an extension of the taste of the person DJing. To be honest, it's like you could be like the best technical DJ in the world, but if your song selection isn't there, it's just not going to be good, and people are going to be bored. So I'm not the most technically knowledgeable DJ when it comes to just like DJing, but I know how to select songs, and so even if I fuck up a transition, people are still going to enjoy themselves because, I've been doing it long enough to kind of like understand what gets a crowd moving, or at least notice things as they're happening. So like sometimes I might be like super hyped during a track, but people just aren't about it. I'm like, damn, all right, we'll try a different vibe. Kaytranada's style is very much like that groovy, saucy house music. I love that shit. And New York is really good for that too. Like you have Honey D Hong. She's an OG member of the house music community back in the 90s when house music was coming out of, like, she grew up in the 90s Chicago house scene, which is where it was pretty much before. And she spends her time between Berlin and New York. So if you ever see her playing a club in New York, seriously go. She will blow your socks off. New York is a very, very, very good house music scene because it's historically like one of the spots where it kind of grew. And the one thing about EDM, a lot of people just attribute, it to like, oh, Boots and Cats and like super whitewashed, like fucking chain smokers bullshit.
Yeah.
Look at your fucking history. It came out of queer black communities in Detroit and Chicago in the 80s, in the 90s. And that's the spaces it came out of. That's why it's like I don't understand how any like there's a few DJs that I've come around in my time that are like super problematic and racist and whatnot, and I'm just like, how can you be racist when the music you make literally came from people of color? Like, brother.
Yeah,
and
it happens.
Yeah. It's important to look at the history too, because it's really interesting because you can like pull things from the past and just use it. And like, it's just 90s house music is fucking sauce. It's vibey. People tend to think of 90s, like, especially like Gen Z, probably a lot of your audience is like a lot of Gen Z. I think we're both on the cusp between millennial and Gen Z.
Yeah.
People kind of tend to think the 90s music is like grunge, Nirvana, punk, which, I mean, yes, that is true, but there's a whole other side of it, like 90s techno, 90s house, 90s trance, jungle, old UK dubstep.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Euro beats.
Eurobeat too, yeah. Eurobeat was huge. Oh my god, 90s, early 2000s hardcore is actually kind of cool. I went to a Japanese venue in VR one time, which you have to be up pretty early for that because like nighttime for them is morning for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I went and there's a DJ playing like early to mid 2000s like hard style and hardcore, and I'm just like, I've never heard this kind of music before, and I fuck with it because like I've heard hardstyle, I've heard hardcore, but not from that era. So I was like, I didn't even know they were making that shit back in the day, you know. You know, it's EDM is a rabbit hole for sure. I'm still digging.
Yeah,
I'm still looking for new tunes.
Yeah.
As a DJ, it's pretty much all you do in your spare time is look for new music to play.
My uncle, he hates house music, and we'll play like some freestyle. We'll play, you know, other 90s and 2000s EDM music and you know, house style top music. And you know, he'll be in his, you know, he'll be grilling because he's always a barbecue person, and at every event we do, and he swear he hates it. But then he's there grilling, just like bobbing his head hard as hell, you know, flipping the burgers, flipping the ribs, and he's jamming out. I look, I'm like, Alex, are you dancing? He's like, no, what the fuck you talking about? No, I'm not. I hate this music. And then I'll get in his car. He would just turn on his car and will be on the house music radio station. I don't know what that. I don't know why is that in that channel. I was listening to 90s boom bap. I don't know why it was on house music. I'm like, sure. It's
good, especially if you get those really soulful, groovy house tunes. I mean, I love my tech house. Don't get me wrong. I'm a white guy, you know. I love my fucking tech house. But the one thing that really gets me is like a little bit slower BPM, very funky, groovy house music. Like, especially like a lot of French house, a lot of new disco. UK garage is fucking so good. But like you get artists like Austin Mills, for example. Oh, I love that shit. I love that style. Same with like a lot of the beats that Kalen Ellis makes. I don't know if you've seen his stuff on Twitter. He's on the same level as K Janata.
Okay, you gotta educate me with the kind of stuff. Once we're off screen, you gotta educate me on some stuff.
Oh yes, for sure. And you know, that kind of stuff really like I'll be on my feet and fucking moving. For sure. And it's fun to DJ. Like house music, it's not the technique. It's like probably one of the easiest genres to DJ. That's like how you start. Whenever a new DJ starts, I tell them start with house music and branch out from there, because then it's really easy to learn the basics because it's really easy to spin, but it's so fucking fun, especially if you have a good song selection. If you got some sauce in your USB, like I did, I played a penthouse party just this last weekend, and I did a 2-hour house and UK garage set, and I just had some sauce on my USB. And like I'm on this, like we're on like the 5th floor in this like hotel penthouse, top floor, just whole view of downtown, open bar, free alcohol, like hell yes. I had a glass of scotch in my hand and I'm spitting some sauce, and I had the other DJs, they kept on coming up to me during that set, and they're like, bro, what is this? I need an ID on this tune, which is a big DJ meme, meaning it's like ID question mark. It's like, what is this track? Who is it by? Or if it's like so and so ID, it's like, oh, this isn't released yet. This is a plate. A dub plate is a term from back in the 90s, because you'd have these little itty bitty records that they would have with unreleased tracks on it, and you dub plates. So DJs would give their homies dub plates so they can play their unreleased music and test it out and stuff. And dub plate still is a term that we use today for like, I've got a couple plates from my friends have some of my plates. Okay. Same thing with like crate digging. It's still a term that we use today, although back in the day it was digging through crates of records to find music, and for us it's just digging through Spotify playlists and doing deep dives on SoundCloud. And then like I build crates as playlists that I pull from, and that sucks up all of my time. But I would I love crate digging. I love when I find a deep cut track that I'm just like, oh, you know the vibe. You know what I mean? That's why it's so much fun. It's like, and just because like I have such a broad knowledge of artists, I can like go to any show and enjoy it. You know, that's like the best part about being a DJ. You can go to any show, and if the DJ is good, doesn't matter what genre, you're still gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, of course.
That's probably what VR chat did to me for the most part. It's just like it's exposed to so many weird out there genres that I fell in love. It's like I could sit down and enjoy a breakcore set. Not a lot of people can do that.
Okay. So one thing I want to expand on is the genres you do. Do you ever think about exploring different genres in probably near future or distant future? You ever think about like experimenting with other?
Yes. I've just now started experimenting with UK garage.
Okay.
It's a fun genre. I've been trying to make some, but it's just been pretty difficult because it's just like it's something I'm new to. I'm also want to try my hand at a little bit of hard dance, some hardcore kind of stuff. Same thing with like us debating on like making a secret alias sometime and just doing like super groovy poppy like down tempo stuff and be like completely anonymous and just be like no one knows, nobody knows. But then again, it's already hard to run 2 aliases at once. It'd be adding a third on top of everything else I do would just kind of be too much. Yeah, I would be overextending for sure. But yeah, I definitely want to experiment more, and you know, as time goes on, I will.
Okay. Like I said, one thing I could probably recommend, you'd be surprised at how well it works. Spanish. The culture for Spanish for DJs is like unlimited.
Latin tech house is fucking awesome. I have spun a lot of Latin tech house. It is very good.
There you go. So you're already in that ballpark.
I'm already in there. Yeah, there's a whole range of just fucking phenomenal DJs out of Latin America in like house, techno, even dubstep. There's a couple guys in South America that are insane. But like you'll have artists like Ana from Argentina, Hernan Cantaneo also from Argentina, a whole range of incredible artists from Brazil, you know, Colombia, just all over. There's just a whole range of
look at Skrillex. Skrillex did that collaboration with a guy named J Balvin in the Ghetto.
Yeah.
And that was like a sensation on TikTok. That was a sensation on YouTube.
You'll still hear that shit in clubs to this day.
Yeah. I believe, let me look at it currently. In the Ghetto has how many views? In the Ghetto. Wow. 153 million views. Damn. But like the Latin market at the moment, it's
Baile funk is still big too.
Yeah, it's so like it's huge. A lot of English artists are collaborating with these Spanish artists as well. Like you have Snoop Dogg and a whole bunch of different type of Spanish tracks. You have Tyga, you have Busta Rhymes, I don't know, weirdly enough. You have 50 Cent, T-Pain, Chris Brown. It's a broad market, especially that the combination of all Latin, I guess humans in this world, I think totals around like 2.3 billion from all of South America, obviously part of the States. You have the Caribbean, Central America. There's some parts in the African continent, Uruguay. They're Spanish descent. Even in Morocco is separated in 3 different sections. You have the French section, the Spanish section, and you have the Arabic section. And with all these Latin backgrounds, the music nowadays is like a lot of these mainstream artists, every time they drop a new music video, they're guaranteed 1 billion views. 1 billion. Not a million, not 100 million, not 200 million, 1 billion.
Yeah. I love Latin jazz too.
Oh my God.
I mean, I played jazz in high school and all through college when I was in college, because I did study music in college before I dropped out. And Latin jazz is like some of the most fun shit to play. Like you get you like if you're wanting to chill out with like just a nice drink and just sitting on a chair just vibing, pull out a nice bossa nova tune, like The Girl from Ipanema, for example. You know, Latin jazz is fun. It's very fun. And then a lot of those influences go into Latin house music and shit. I would love to do more with just Latin music in general. It's just I'm very white. I need to
but
learn.
It could work.
It could work.
It could work because you'll be that one white DJ that will be in everybody's contact list when they have a wedding or a party or a quinceañera or a sweet 16 or anything. It'll be so out of left field.
Have a few DJs you'll need to meet from VR that do Latin music very well. One of them being Chris DM. He's fucking awesome. Incredible techno producer and DJ. He also DJs rhythm and dubstep very well, but he does do a lot of Latin stuff because he is Hispanic himself, and I've been to a couple of those sets, and I'm like, sauce, you know.
So for your music career, I guess I could say, who was your biggest inspiration of how you got started? Like who did you listen to? Like, you know what? This person really inspired me. I want to do something like this, but with my own twist.
Porter Robinson. Bar none. Porter Robinson.
Okay.
When Porter Robinson released Sad Machine, which is the first single from his Worlds album, early in 2013, because the Worlds album came out in 2014. He released Sad Machine in 2013 on his SoundCloud. I had been a fan of him already because of his Spitfire EP beforehand. And I was just scrolling through SoundCloud on my old fucking iPhone 3 freshman year of high school, and I'm like, oh shit, Porter Robinson released a new tune. And I listened to that track, and I listened to Sad Machine, and I was like, I did not know EDM could make me feel this way. I did not know I could get feels from electronic music. I did not. And so I fell in love, and I just wanted to start doing stuff. And of course, Worlds album, everybody knows the Worlds album. You also have like Shelter with Maddie on. And I just, you know, he continually inspired the shit out of me for a long time. And I think the most inspiring moment for me as a musician was last year. I went to Second Sky Music Festival in Oakland, which was Porter Robinson's festival. And I went, the whole day was just filled with fantastic acts. I got to see Jacob Collier live. Really good, really fantastic. I saw one of my other heroes, John Hopkins, live for the first time. And then, of course, at the end of the night, I saw Porter Robinson. I've been listening to him for a decade before I finally got to see him live. And of course, his most recent album resonated with me extremely hard, because a lot of it is about being a musician and the struggles with that, and also the idea of time dilation and how that shit sucks. You know, the older you get, the faster time goes by, especially this year. Like I blinked and it went from January to August. Yeah. But I don't think I have ever cried that hard in my entire life than I did during that set. And I was with like a bunch of my friends that I met in VR. There was about a big group of about 40 of us.
Wow.
So we had that huge inspiring day. I mean, the whole weekend was just music, because one of our friends played at a bar in San Francisco. So we went to go see him play there. And, you know, we're all DJing in our separate Airbnbs to each other because we're all fucking DJs. And then afterwards, me and a friend drove down to LA, and I spent like a week in LA. I finally got to meet my manager in person when I was out there. Shout out Indigo. It's pizza time. And like that whole week and a half was one of the most inspiring musical moments for me, because it was just wake up, eat, live, breathe, sleep music for a week and a half. Just especially being in LA, where like the whole industry is. Like I went to one of Brownies and Lemonade's drum and bass shows while I was there, because I happened to be there when it happened. It was a fantastic night. But I met so many artists I've been listening to for a long time at that show. so many, because my manager's all connected to them. He's like, "Yo, go talk to this person. Go talk to this person." I'm like, "Huh? What? Yo, go talk to Sunfocus." And I was like, "No, Sunfocus is the one person I refuse to talk to, and I regret it." But I'm like, "No, I'm not talking to him. Jesus Christ, he's huge." It's just like, it was one of the most inspiring moments for me. It was just like seeing the industry as it worked, and then of course experiencing that incredible like emotional moment during Porter Robinson's set. By the way, it is on YouTube if you guys want to see what I mean. Porter Robinson's Second Sky 2021. Yeah, no, it was probably one of the most inspiring moments for me, and it still carries me to this day. I mean, granted, I'm moving away from doing a lot of like melodic Porter inspired stuff that I used to back in the day, but I still attribute Porter, and I think Deadmau5 being a close second in those early days in inspiring me to make music, and just pursue it. And yeah, I mean, I just do it because I love it now. I there's a whole range of people that inspire me now. If I hear it's not necessarily one person anymore. It's just a mix of influences that just meld into one kind of sound.
Yeah.
Every artist at a certain point kind of gets their sound. It's like their own personal the way they just personally make music, the way they write things. If you hear a track, you won't even see it. You're like, oh, this is this person's tune. It sounds like them.
Some people have beats where the moment you just hear the instrumental, you can automatically tell, oh, this is a XYZ track. Oh, this is an XYZ track.
Like Suicide Boys.
Yep.
You immediately fucking know it's Suicide Boys.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like same thing with like for me, since I'm more in the hip hop, reggaeton phase. It's like whenever I hear like Tyga's music, he always have that he always has like a voice over his beats. That was like, a lot of people do as well, but his producer has such a unique way of producing beats that you could tell, okay, this is by Tyga.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to know about, since you do shows on VR and you also do IRL shows, what has been the most weirdest interaction you have ever seen on VR and the weirdest interaction you ever seen in real life? What did I open up? What did I just open up?
There are so many things I cannot talk about. I have seen some shit, but I think the weirdest thing, I guess I'll start with IRL to be a bit more tame, and then actually no, I'm gonna start with the VR to be a bit more tame. Actually, so I think the weirdest thing I've seen in VR chat during a set was, I used to work at a venue in VR chat called Rage House. I used to be on staff there, and one of the events that we would do every once in a while was Scuff Night.
Okay.
Where the sets are intentionally just scuffed. It's just meme sets the whole night. Yeah. And a friend of mine was playing a fucking meme ass weird ambient set in a scuffed Donkey Kong avatar that played Five Nights at Freddy's ambient sounds. My friend was in a shopping cart avatar. Another friend of mine was a bottle of ketamine avatar. And I was sitting there high as fuck and cry laughing. That whole night was scuffed. Like, one of my other friends did a set that was entirely nothing but build-ups. And then breakcore for the last 10 minutes. So it build up for like 50 minutes straight. And then breakcore for the last 10 minutes. We were like, it basically hurt. We're just like, God damn it, just drop something.
I can only melt
it did
15 minutes.
50.
Oh my god. I've seen these TikToks where it'll be DJs intentionally doing build-ups. And obviously,
fake outs.
Yeah, the TikToks would be like obviously like what, 3 minutes max before they actually up it to like 10.
Yeah, fake outs are a big thing in the dubstep scene. Fake outs are fun. it can go overboard though. But yeah, that whole night was just so scuffed, and it's definitely one of the weirdest things. Another thing was I was DJing at a friend's party, and some of my friends, they had these like signs built in with their avatar. They can just like hold up a sign that says like more BPM or whatever. I wasn't even paying attention to them because they're both sitting on the floor and vibing. And then I look up and both of them are holding up a sign that just says nice ass. I'm like, thanks. In IRL, the weirdest thing I've seen at a show was at Lights All Night in Dallas in 2021. I don't know what the hell this guy was on, but I just see this naked dude run past me, and then the security running past me, and I'm like, what the fuck? It was just some guy, I don't know what drugs he took, but he was just naked and, you know, doing whatever. And fucking one of my other friends took a video of this. They saw it, I didn't, but I saw it later on Discord. They fucking tased the guy. And so you just see this guy just doing whatever, and then you see him just stiff up like a board and then brick. Dude just got bricked by a taser. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. That's definitely the weirdest thing I've seen in person. Obviously not the best way to deal with someone who's not having a good time on drugs, but you know, it happened.
Yeah. All right. I guess to end off the podcast, 5-year plan, 10-year plan. What's your ideas?
I'm obviously gonna keep doing music under both of my aliases. I'm gonna keep growing. I'm gonna keep throwing shows here in Oklahoma. So if you guys are, of course, of age and can go to these kinds of events and live in either the Oklahoma City or the Tulsa area, you'll probably catch me at a show sometime. I've got a couple things I can't talk about yet that I'm really excited about for next year, so I'll definitely keep everybody in the loop for that on my Twitter. Still working on making new music as well. Got some releases coming up that are pretty pog. And when it comes to YouTube and streaming and stuff, you'll be finding me streaming a lot just because, you know, the VR chat raves and stuff run through Twitch. But I also want to get back into doing gaming streams again because I do miss it. And of course, I will be continuing to release videos on the gaming channel with all the homies. And yeah, that's about it. Like all I could really say is just check out my socials, and if you vibe with it, go ahead and follow. And also follow this beautiful man right here.
All right.
follow this beautiful man, follow his podcasts. Check out his newest videos, even if it's not a compilation. I'm watching you. Watch his original shit. And yes, a cheers to all of you.
There you go.
For hanging out with us.
Yep. All right, guys. On that note, I gotta give that a try. I gotta see if they have that in my local. Well, I live in a alcoholic heaven. I have 4 liquor stores by my house, all walking distance.
Oh my god, dude! I had to drive like 2 miles.
I have where I live. There's a little bridge. Make a left. There's 2 right there. Cross that bridge. Make a right. There's a cigar shop, and 2 more over there. All walking distance. All within like between 2 to 5 minute walks.
Brother.
But on that note, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode of me sitting down who Tvpps is and his whole journey. If you go to one of his shows, don't be naked. Vibe with his music and follow his journey. And like he just said, he has something coming out next year he can't talk about. I'm excited. Look out for that. Follow his Twitter. He will be updating all you guys around there. I would definitely be having more content with him gaming wise. I am structuring a whole different type of thing, but that's a conversation for the other channel. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I thoroughly enjoyed this. If you ever want me to have this guest back on, let me know. I want to explore more of what he's done. So maybe I'll probably do like a revisit in 6 months or in 8 months or what. I want to hear more about music. I love music. I've been doing nothing but, you know, gaming content creators, and the first interview on this channel was artists. So I want to continue that journey. I have a whole bunch of other artists I have in line as well. There's one person I'll be going to New York. The gentleman, his name is James the Barber, Latin artist in the 90s. But music has always been a big passion of mine. I always want to explore different genres. I've been listening to a little bit of Taps music here and there. Aaron actually showed me the song that you worked with him. So
Yeah,
I love it, and I want to hear obviously more music from Taps. So if you want to hear his music, all his links will be in the description, and just give him a follow. Until next time, guys, love your faces. We out.